flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yes. There's much breeze.
Welcome you all here today on a rather gray and gloomy day. Our first order of business is to hear from the Okoboji Tourism. Oh,
Hello, thank you for having me.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody want a visitor guide? Are you familiar with them?
Sure.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you guys for having me. I was here last year. I'd only been here for a couple months and we had the lovely flood going on, so I'm happy to have a much more positive report this year. I want to start off and thank you guys for your support last year. Really appreciate it. So I'm here today for the Okoboji Tourism Committee. I've got Blaine Andera here with the Chamber of Commerce. We are a committee of the Chamber, and then Bridget is here. She's on our committee in our executive committee. So I'm sure we're all aware that tourism is a major economic engine for Dickinson County. It supports nearly 1,400 jobs and generates more than $344 billion in economic impact. And these dollars ripple throughout our community. So not only do they support our local businesses, but they enhance our amenities and contribute to the overall way of life for our residents. So it's a great impact. So in your packet of information, you have our letter of request for $90,000 again this year. And then I also have our 2024-2025 statistics. So we were here last year and presented that we were going to do a new website. Really excited to tell you that that new website launched in May. And we saw a huge increase in visitation and engagement. So we had a 68% increase in new visitors to our website, 1.3 million page views, and 415,000 users on our website. And most of that, of course, being an increase after our new website was launched, which was really exciting. Our website is absolutely free for businesses to be on. So we just want people to come to our site, learn about our businesses, and then go in those stores and support locally. We also have really great data on visitation for the year. So we had 1 million visitors come to our area. So that's people that came, maybe it was for half a day, a full day, multiple days. But to see a 4.2% increase was really great. And a great bounce back after the flood last year. 6.7 average days in as well. Visitation. Of that 1 million visitors that we had, 750,000 in the summer. So really strong summer visitation. And we were especially glad to see the data on overnight trips. So 404,000 overnight trips in the summer, which was a 19.2% increase from last year, which was very much after. If you flip that page over, you can see the state. So we can go from the state office, and they do a state level report, and then they break it down by county and this is just for Dickinson County, $3.6 million in business office and state level taxes. This is just in direct impact of tourism from tourists. So really strong impact, and then it breaks it down for you lower there that category. And you can see a year-by-year comparison from 2020 to 2024. So really strong results, and we're really proud of the work that we had done this last year. I also included in there our marketing budget, so you can see that it's a $200,000 budget, and we work every single year adjusting that into ways that we know our visitors are indulging their marketing. So print, TV, radio, a large variety so that we can get people everywhere we can. We can with the state of Iowa's tourism office as well. We're going to do marketing, and we partner with them to get it too. So like I said, all of these numbers really show that people are looking to travel here more than ever before. And we're really proud that, during the summer, they didn't choose to go somewhere else. We want them to keep choosing our area as their destination in the Midwest. A couple other things I'd love to update. When I was here last year, we had also talked about our office space. We knew that our lease was coming up. If you're not aware, we are in the amusement park area behind the museum. And in 2 weeks, we'll be moving to Lake Street in Spirit Lake for a temporary time before we have a new office built for us in Reynolds Park. This office will be great. It's going to be next to the Emporium. I will show you a picture of it. So if you're familiar with where the Extra Touch building is, it will be built alongside that building. So this will allow us to be more of a, not a welcome center, but more visible for our visitors. So we're looking at a lot of ways to be able to interact with visitors and get them more in the business doors more easily. So things like interactive touchscreen TVs that they can use when we're not there, not available, looking for quick answers, things like that. So with that, I just want to thank you guys again and you'll impress us with some hotel tax funding again next year. Any questions?
How do you get your numbers, your count?
Yeah, so we have a couple different subscriptions that we use. One is called Placer, and we split that with the chamber. It is a cell phone data that we use. And so if you are in the county for more than 7 minutes on your phone and you allow tracking on your phone, we're able to get information and data that way. Sounds kind of creepy, but really great for us marketing wise because it helps us understand our visitors more so that we're not spending our marketing dollars in a way that's wasted and we can understand our demographics and how people are engaging.
So I mean, I read the reports, but do you go out around and count cars, count out? How do you get the numbers that you put up for the hotels, motels and?
Yeah, so one of the subscriptions that we have as well is called AirDNA. And they collect all the data for rental properties. And so anyone that's on VRBO or Airbnb is automatically counted in there. And then we get daily, monthly reports on how much is spent, how many days, lead time of days, booking, all of that information for short-term rental properties. Hotels operate differently because they don't all have to be booked on the same system. So we actually call them every single week in peak season and get visitation reports from them. Rental properties are obviously harder to call individually, so we don't have that subscription. But Placer allows us that we don't have to drive around and count cars anymore. We get all of that information collected. We get information from them 3 days after it happened. So like when we're doing marketing for winter games, it's really great for us to use those dates and then get demographic information of the people that came for winter games. Shows us a full map of where they came from, where they stayed, where they traveled to. And then we're better able to understand, okay, we had a really strong market in Omaha this year, but maybe Sioux Falls was down. Let's push more dollars to Sioux Falls. And then we can see next year if Sioux Falls increased in our marketing is working.
Do you have much problem with non-reporting of rentals and VRB, things like that?
I think now that more and more people are on Airbnb and VRBO, those automatically pay in the taxes for you. So that's helpful. Of course, it's something we're always looking into. AirDNA is great because it shows us all of the properties within the county so we can get more data on, what they could be making or if they are listing, if they listed a short period of time. And then we can kind of monitor those locations. I would say just with the boom of Airbnb and VRBO, that's much more controlled. But controlled is also kind of a hard word because we now have at peak season 595 rental properties in the county, which is a very large number when you see that Des Moines has about 650 rental properties. So it's a tough one, but there's not really anything we can do to stop them right now with the state code. So
do these numbers include like campgrounds?
So the overnight stays would not if they're not reporting to a system. So like some campgrounds, like church campgrounds, they do list on Airbnb or VRBO, so they may be counted in there. But like county and state campgrounds, no, we don't have reports for those. It's something we could look into.
How about RV parks?
Again, it's the same kind of situation. Most of our RV parks are now doing seasonal rentals. So they're still listed on our website, and we still send people there, to call and see if they have weekend stays or one-day stays, but a majority of them are booked months in advance. We're doing seasonal bookings now. But my understanding is those are not hotel motel tax dollars, campgrounds as well, so it's not something we really keep as close of an eye on. We care more about, heads and beds kind of thing.
What all activities do you promote in the winter?
In the winter, well,
Other than,
depend on how Mother Nature treats us. Last year, we had a lot of really big plans to work with the Nature Center on cross-country skiing and snowshoeing, sledding, things like that. We just didn't get the snow, and so we had all those plans to do that. We did a snowmobile shoot last year, big economic impact on snowmobiles. We do that. We do a huge push on ice fishing. We know that we're a great destination for ice fishermen. And then of course we push all our indoor activities. We've got a lot of big museums, a lot of great things for children to do at nature centers and landscapers. Dining, of course. Anything that's open, making sure we push those out. So with our new website, itineraries, anything that we can share we can. We're just such a beautiful place for people to come and we have a great place to stay. So we push it, arcades, holiday parties, you name it. That is something that last year with the increase in funding that we got from you guys, we were able to do more year-round campaigns this year. So instead of really focusing on the summer, we really expanded on the shoulder season. So we had a really big fall campaign. That was a huge success this year. We're just about to launch our winter campaign, of course, winter games as well. We'll go into spring, whereas things open up. We do fishing and golfing and things like that. And then of course our biggest campaign is our summer campaign.
anything else?
I have a quick question. So you talked about the increase in the summer seasons. What do you have for increase on those off months?
Yeah, I don't have the specific stats in front of me, but when we looked at rental properties, I want to say we were up like 30% in September for short-term rentals. Now, again, I don't have all those data for hotels. It's just much harder to collect. It's just so quick for us to get property data. But we are seeing for the forecast, it's looking like we're going to have a good winter for what their booking percentages are looking like, which is really great for us to see too. What's really nice is last year, the state switched to a monthly payout for hotel motel tax dollars. So now we're able to see, so they get, let's say in November, they're actually getting September's hotel motel tax dollars. It takes 2 months to come in. But in November, then we can look back and see, okay, did September go? Does that mean what we did or what can we adjust? So all of this data helps us be really flexible in what we do. And we do pretty much everything in-house now. And so we can change things at the drop of a hat if we need to. Like when the flood happened, we weren't doing marketing in-house, so it took us a little bit of time to adjust things. Now, if we don't have snow, we can pull all the snow pictures and do something different.
That's a nice quick return on your,
Yeah,
yeah, and most businesses don't get that quick of a return.
yeah, and that's
In knowledge, I guess.
That's where the placer data for us is very helpful too, because we get that data within 3 days. So after Sunday, by Wednesday, we know how visitation was for the weekend. So we can see, we can compare winter games data to last year much faster than we used to. It used to take about 60+ days. So like I said, we can really learn and adjust quickly and then prepare for the next year much better. And then that's also something that we have sat down with some businesses too, to kind of understand their visitation, and then they can understand maybe they need to market differently or who their clientele is, because we can also report based off of, we can get all the way down to a city, we can get down to a specific business. And so we can learn a lot more about who our visitors are and how we can advertise to them correctly.
Anything else? If not, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next on our agenda is Discovery House.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm Yvonne Taylor and I am the current recent treasurer for the Discovery House. And I think you guys got our presentation email wise. It's not really, it's pretty keeping it simple. Discovery House has been in existence here in Spirit Lake since 1993. So I think most everyone in our community is quite familiar with it. We have had good numbers this year. I noticed in there that I negated changing 2024 to 2025 on the second page, but those residency attendance and the night stayed is actually 25, not 24. So I do apologize for that. We have really appreciated the support of Dickinson County through the years. We also receive support from Palo Alto and Emmett County. We are not really pursuing anything with Clay County. They have their own recoveries going on and we respect that. And probably last year we had our third house, but this year we do not have the third house in Spencer anymore. That was ruined by the flooding as well and was not something recoverable for our organization. So we were retrenched back into our homes in Spirit Lake. Most importantly, we are a recovery home for people struggling with addiction. Homelessness is a very important issue to us, but the primary focus is to give people a safe place to live and to form relationships with spiritual leadership, with AA groups, get sponsorships, have ownership in a place to live, an affordable place, form mentorships with their fellow residents to support their sobriety. All the residents do sign an agreement and an understanding that sobriety is first and foremost. They have to be in compliance with that to support their own recovery as well as their fellow residents' recovery. All I can say is Discovery House has been around a long time. I haven't been actively involved with it other than volunteering and donating to it. But clearly throughout our communities, there is a tremendous sense of ownership. And even in Palo Alto County, I had someone approach me on several occasions. I have attended. I had relatives that we sent there. It was absolutely a saving grace for us. And just can't be fortunate enough that the opportunity to get friends and family a place to go, and it was there for them. Any questions about statistics? The current budget is pretty much consistent with last year's. Right now, our biggest constraint that we're having in our women's house is that our bathrooms are having a pretty major plumbing issue. We actually had a pipe that leaked through the wall and came down through the ceiling. So we had to take those two bathrooms offline. So our women's house right now is empty and we're working effortlessly to get someone in there to get it repaired. I have 3 bids on the table right now. So the board is working at going over that and trying to decide what can we afford, what can we not afford. We did get a grant, a $5,000 grant towards that effort. And I'm working on a couple of more grants to try to help with the fiscal costs of getting the physical structure up and running. Our kitchen had some issues as well. It is running well now. It lacks a refrigerator that's adequate enough for the size of the home. Having 10 residents living there full time, we would need a larger refrigerator. And that's something we've been working on, either getting one donated or finding a way to get grants to help us purchase a larger refrigerator that could handle the capacity of having 10 residents living in and out of it on a regular basis. I struggle just with my kids to shut the door, so I don't know what that really takes. But anyway, I guess I would just open it up to you guys for any questions from me. And I will not pretend to be all knowing about these processes. I come at it from the financial standpoint and am reviewing the books and getting our numbers in line, but I'd be willing to help be as knowledgeable as I can, put it that way.
Thanks. You mentioned that you had a house in Spencer and during the flood, it was ruined. So what did you do with that property?
We actually sold it in January And the financial recovery from that has been significant. We had a lot of expenses. We had to clean the house out. There was garbage removal. Utilities were behind in that house. The absorption of it's been a wash basically at this point. That was we pulled out to save ourselves financially, basically. That's all there really was left, was to get out of that situation.
The current director.
We are in transition with our directorship right now. We had a director that just got a new job working at Beacon House in Des Moines. So she has transitioned down there. And right now we've been running with an interim house manager. I think you guys got a notice from our previous director, who was director for 14 years, Julie Scheib, who is also on our board. And we've been really learning, I should say me, because more of our, there are a lot of people involved with Discovery House that have more extensive knowledge of how it has run through the years and been successful. And one of the sober home living successes is to have house managers that live in the homes and interact with the residents on a daily basis. And so we're looking at going back to that structure more so and having house managers living in the homes with the residents. So we're in transition right now with that.
Kind of forms do you keep? I mean, like records, what kind of records? You have intake forms, exit forms?
Yeah, there's so much structure going on there. I should have included this in the packet, but it was on the, the double-sided page world, and I think I forgot to get that one in there, but they have a weekly check-in list. So once the residents become a resident, they have a sign in and sign out log that is by the doors of each house. And they sign in the evenings. They have a curfew. They sign in and show that they're in the house. In the mornings when they get up to go to work, they sign out. And that's just a basic, where are you and what are your hours for today? Just so everybody in the house can be aware where their fellow residents are. Then they also have a weekly checklist that they turn in every Monday night. And I'm sorry, that's probably hard to see. But every week they turn this into the house manager on Monday nights when they also pay their programming fee, their rent, so to speak. And on there, they have the 3 12-step meetings that they've attended throughout the week. They need to report that they have attended and have it signed off. So they take that with them and their sponsors or whoever's running their AA meetings. We do have AA meetings at the house. We have a very successful Monday evening one. And we also have one on Saturday that it's struggling a little bit because they decided to go at 8:30 in the morning, and that is a women's only group. And those gals are sort of deciding maybe they would rather go at 11 or 1. So we're letting them figure that out for themselves, but the house is totally open to them and they are receptive to wanting to meet there. Then they also have chores that the house manager checks in on. So there are chore lists for each of the houses. They get responsibilities. They do their own dishes. They do all the vacuuming. They do the dusting, the cleaning. They clean their bathrooms. They rake leaves. They shovel snow, management of the home. It's their house. It's where they live. And we want them to build their life skills of those responsibilities of everyday life so that when they transition out of sober living, they have their boots on the ground. They're ready to engage in, a regular everyday routines. So the houses are set up in that structure to give them the opportunity to re-engage with everyday life in a sober manner. So that's a checklist. They also are required to attend one spiritual leadership a week. Hopefully they're going to a formalized church mass, whether they're Catholic, Presbyterian, Good News, whatever is their preference, but hopefully they are attending one service a week, and that's on the list as well. And there is a signature sign off there. So if they go with a buddy or a friend, then, they can be accountable to each other on that. They also need to meet with their sponsor. So whoever is their sponsor in their sobriety journey also signs off that they had a weekly meeting with their sponsor. So that's their accountability sheet and they turn it in every week. And if there's anything missing on there, then that's something that gets reviewed and what can we do to help them with that? If they're lacking spiritual leadership, we can work on that. We do have Dr. Adelie Dixon and her husband, Dr. Wade Dixon, are coming in the house every Sunday evening. And we have volunteers that are making Sunday dinners for all of our residents, and our residents go and that's their private Sunday dinners. And Wade and Adelie sit with them and they do a spiritual leadership Bible study on, that's been pretty successful. I did get scolded yesterday because I didn't provide as much food as maybe I usually do. So I will work on that because they have hearty appetites on Sunday evening, especially now that it's getting cold. But so that's how that works. I hope that answers your question.
How many people did you help during the year and what was your success rate, if you have any data on that?
Right. I'm
Do you do follow up with these people as well? See how they're doing?
Kurt Wiegers, I think you guys know him. He was the previous president / treasurer of the board and worked for Bank Midwest, got a job out of town. So he's the one that wrangled me in and said, we need you to step in and be the treasurer. So I did. So I can't purport to say that I'm the expert on recovery, but I did give you the stats there. These are actual, and I apologize, like it says on that second page, it says 24, but that is actually 25. We had 54 residents in the house for a total of 4,392 nights that they stayed there. They do enter and subscribe to a weekly residents, they pay their $75 weekly just to live in the house. So that would be, how do I want to say, because you're asking me about success rates. In reality, there are some people that don't make it 3 days,
Right.
and so statistically, I kind of left them off the numbers and put them over in a different bucket. When they leave the home, it does say that they maybe failed in their sobriety, or that they were a successful transition and moved on. I've done a lot of research learning about, that's how I do it. I got to read, I got to figure out what's going on. Recovery from alcohol and drug addiction statistically is less than 20%. And actually I talked to one of our other board members who has an extensive background, and he said, really, some addictions are less than 5%. I would say, looking through everything that we have, Discovery House has, and I'm not saying first try, let me be honest with you. Sometimes our residents have come back 3, 4. If they fail, they negate to test negative and have to leave the home. They have to leave for 30 days. They can get sober, they can retest, and they can be readmitted. And the readmission rate is very high for Discovery House, because once they sort of had the opportunity to experience that, they do want that. They want that support and they want that place to live. So many times it's the 4th try is a charm, and then they're with us for 6 months and maybe close to a year, and then they transition out to live on their own in everyday life. And oftentimes with the people that they meet at Discovery House, that who becomes their fellowship moving forward to support their sobriety. So it's, did I answer your question? I apologize. So I tangent off on you.
No, you're fine. Okay, what other resources did you coordinate with in the county? What other?
Well, and I can let Beth speak to that better because she reviews. I don't do any applications or review that, but just from my knowledge of doing the book work and seeing where the people are arriving from, we work with law enforcement. We work with treatment and recovery centers that are looking to move people that they know are ready on to get support and to, not end up homeless, to be honest with you, because that is what happens. We basically work with anybody that reaches out to us, but it can't say that every candidate that applies to be a resident of Discovery House is a good fit, because it is a sober living home and that commitment has to be in place. It's a really important to support the sobriety of our fellow residents. And if somebody is homeless and maybe they're not an addict or have a severe addiction of some nature, they could potentially be a candidate to be a resident, but they have to comply with the sober living structure of the home. And sometimes that's not comfortable for some people. That's not what they're into, you know. I did read a lot about just the whole structure of supporting people in sobriety, and in a lot of communities, there's halfway houses. And what they do is one side of the house is, you know, homeless folks, and then the other side is homeless and addicted. The success rate of that transitional living for people struggling with sobriety and addiction is less, it's the lowest. So that's what you're asking me. So Discovery House has about a 43% success rate with residents, and that's where I got off on my tangent. It may not be the first time, but if you give them time, and then you don't take your stat right away, you give them time to come back and work through their process. And that's a pretty, it sounds like a low number, but in the world of recovery, it's astronomical. It's a very high success rate.
So Yvonne, what happens when someone doesn't meet the criteria and
Yes.
they leave?
Mhm.
Is there a follow-up process? Is there some
I can let
method to
maybe
help
Beth
them along to the
yeah,
next step?
yeah.
Or I'm just curious how that works, so that, do they come back? Do they go on? Are they homeless? Are they on their own?
Sure,
What's that process, Beth?
sure. And I'm gonna answer Steve's question first,
Sure.
and then I'll come back to you, because I think it'll all make sense then. So Steve, you asked about community resources and so forth. When an individual gets admitted, and it is an application process, and like Ron said, we are working with those recovery centers or treatment centers all across the state. Keystone, the referral sources from even independent SUD providers. So those individuals come into Discovery House, they are screened through that application process, whether we meet with the individual itself, and then also the counselors or wherever they may be coming from. Everybody has different needs. So it's kind of we gotta put that puzzle piece together. You know, a lot of them come through my office upstairs through general assistance. I mean, I had a guy yesterday, he goes, I need steel-toed boots. How do I get them? Where do I get, you know? So example, you know, he had money, he just didn't know where to go get them. So I mean, the questions and the resources that we use, you know, we tap into the food pantries, the SNAP program, Medicaid, whatever those services are. So each individual has different needs, and so we try to plug them in with those community resources. So Kim, to your question then, in reference, if it doesn't work out, what happens to those individuals? They get discharged. You know, unfortunately, sometimes they end up arrested because of issues, and then Mr. Goodlow gets to deal with them. Sometimes they relapse, and we need to get them back into treatment. So some individuals go through the process again.
But are they released, Beth? In other words, they're released and they're out on their own. Is that kind of how the process, I'm just trying to.
It's zero tolerance.
I
So,
get that part, but then they go out, and then if they goof up again, they either go to jail or they.
right,
make
or we
their way-
find alternate housing options for them, or many of our individuals come from across the state or across the country, to be honest. And we have to make connections with those individuals, contacting their emergency contacts and so forth, to see if we can come up with a solution. We don't have a cheat sheet because every case is different. You kind of gotta triage as you're going in what the needs are, and how to get them from point A to point B.
Sure.
Our bus system isn't real good here, so we have to be creative.
They ask, half of it comes out of the opioid fund. You tell them.
Yeah, in the past or last fiscal year, we took half of that asking out of the opioid state dollars, because that does meet the criteria for purposes of SUD services. So that was what half of that asking came from your budgets, and the other half came from that opioid dollar.
You had mentioned other counties being involved. So I'm like Palo Alto, I think I heard. They don't have options in Palo Alto like Discovery House?
No,
So does Palo Alto then also help donate to Discovery?
That is correct. So the askings thus far have been Palo Alto County and Emmett County and Dickinson County. So you're kind of third on the traveling roadshow. And then our municipalities or cities also donate here locally. Thank you.
If nobody else has another question, I did want to kind of follow up because I told Beth, as I explained to you, I'm more like if I can read it, I can understand it, and I'm working my way through Discovery House, and this is just one of the files in Discovery House, and the letters in here from the previous residents and people who, and I do the financial side, so I see people who have recovered and are living their lives who send us a check for $10 a month to help support, and please keep the mission. The letters in here are just amazing. There are military veterans in here. There are school teachers. There are mayors of other cities outside of our county. There are, parents of children. This is only one. There's a whole filing cabinet full of them. And I just started going through them, and I was, I've lived here for 25 years or whatever. And I've always respected that Discovery House was there, but God willing, and no, but man, it really has, it has been a safe haven for a lot of people. And I have been approached since I got asked to be on this board by so many people just saying, what you come to understand is this house belongs to thousands of people. They have a sense of love and ownership for it. And if they were in a position to give more, they would, and they do. And if you ask for bed sheets, they're going to Walmart and they're buying them and dropping them off with whatever little bit they can provide. Because it just means that much to them that that house was there for them when they needed it, and they want it to be there for others. So I just wanted to let you know that that's my new learning, and I really appreciate it. And if you could read these, honestly, some of them are heartbreaking, but they're mostly just really humanitarianly uplifting, which I can't, everybody needs this time of year, so.
So are you currently actively searching for a new director?
We're yes and no, because we're considering, do we want to bring on a full directorship or go back to our having house managers? So we have board members that are very familiar with like the Omaha Sober Home Livings and the Beacon House Sober Home Livings, and a lot of them actually function having house managers and not a main director over the top. And then the boards with their areas of speciality that contribute to the total functioning. And because we're dealing with our plumbing issue right now, it's a good time. And, and Neely has transitioned on. It's a really good time for us to reevaluate and set the reset button. Discovery House was always a co-ed living facility for many, 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 many years. And now we're in a different, we're in a new world, and we're past COVID. And so we're considering how do we maybe do house mentorship with a women's house and a men's house. And, that's kind of a new setting. I think that Julie explained to you guys that the original tradition of the buying of the Daniel house was have a home for initial recovery, and then have a transition home for folks that have moved on in their recovery, but they're not quite ready to go into the world. So we have a lot of making sure that we're doing what Discovery House is meant to do at its optimal level. And maybe going back to just having those house manager mentorships is more advantageous. Having done 2 directorships back to back, and now thinking about going to house management. Okay. Thank you. We appreciate your support and contributions. We really do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What you're doing.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys. You too.
Next up, Trails. I saw her on.
You had to go upstairs really quick, so if you want to go on to Jeff, that'd be great.
Okay. Just to do something great for you. Jeff. Since we didn't get the wins for thought.
Morning, Board. The first item we have here is a discussion on with new co-op on DD two, sub 2 of 2 tile. They're working on a dry fertilizer, and Frank Huesman is here. He's gonna kind of explain what's going on and what options he's gonna present to you. He came to me first. I asked him to present the options to you guys, since you guys are the trustees of Drainage District. Right?
Good morning. I know, first thing you'll find out is I am not good at public speaking or things like that, but I know you all have a little bit of a packet. I had sent some things last week. I made them a little bigger because my eyesight isn't the best, and I always have a lot easier time kind of seeing things from a bigger perspective, so they're not exactly the same. The information that was sent to you, but they include one of those as well.
Honesty is the word of the day. I'm good. Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning again. My name is Frank Huesman, and I work for New Cooperative. We're based, Farm Supply Cooperative, based out of Fort Dodge. And as Jeff said, we are in the process of constructing a new fertilizer building and plant over in Superior, Iowa. And as we're going through the process of finding all the drainage patterns, drainage programs, stormwater permits and things, we ran across a county subtile. And the packet that you have in front of you, the first page is just kind of an overview similar to what you have on the screen in front of you. Just an overview of the area, with the area in the red circle being the this is of where this tile is located. If you go to the second page, that is just an overall water management plan that we have put together for drainage. It does just from our engineer, that shows how we will handle stormwater runoff. Right now, that is just an open lot, so as you see on the screen in front of you, it's a bare lot. We're doing landscaping, we'll have a building there. And it shows the location of where the tile is located. That's off of Beacon. That's also kind of shown on page 3 of the packet I just gave you. So the location of that tile appears that it starts by the railroad tracks and then runs south across Highway 9 and heads south to catch on to another tile farther south. Well, that isn't entirely correct. The following page that you have in the packet I just gave you shows the georeference location of that tile. The area, as we were doing dirt work, getting the surface prepared, dirt contractor, Beck Engineering Surveying, located the tile, and it actually does not run straight north and south. It makes a curve to the west. So they georeferenced where that tile is located, and then where it continues on south. The red line is my interpretation of trying to overlay where it actually runs. But the purple line to the north is correct. That's georeferenced points on where that is located. But where that tile is located, whether it runs to the west or whether it runs north and south, as we're making the retention basins, discovered that tile, the bottom of our basin will be right on the top of that tile. So we've got the basin here, and the tile is right underneath. It's a 12-inch or 11 3/4-inch outside diameter tile, clay tile. And so we are looking at options on how do we reroute it, what are options that are available to ensure that we continue with the drainage. Now, once we get to that road, I don't know if it continues west. We have not gone far west across the street to see if it continues on west or where it goes. But the last page in the packet that I gave you kind of outlines a number of things. That's the same area in the red circle that was on the first page, and the blue line is the actual location of the tile where it runs now. As you can see, it is right in the bottom of the drainage basin or retention pond that we have. So talking to Beck Engineering and surveying, engineering. He came up with kind of three options that maybe we could look at. And one of those options was to take the tile where it is now, and on the upper left-hand side, you could cut the tile right there, leave an opening, put rodent control in, dig a trench, so to speak. So it goes laterally across the basin and then attaches again on the south side. We'd have to do a little ditch to connect those. Option two is raise the bottom of our basin, so it's above the tile where it would not disturb the tile. But the engineering on the drainage district or drainage aspect of it says, no, we really need all the area of the retention pond for drainage. So that's not really a viable option, because we would have to raise it 3 to 4 feet to protect the tile. Now you're losing capacity of your holding pond. So what's proposed on the last page is a relocation of the tile to, from the outlet, take the tile south and then run it back east. And it'd be kind of on the core slope of our retention pond and connect it on the east side and continue to head south. Yes, I am here to ask for opinions, ask for suggestions, present these options to you. My thought, my opinion is, if it works, the relocation of it to run along the south, and maybe it does not make a 90-degree turn there. We have slope in that area that the southwest corner could be inched east away, so it kind of more of an angle instead of 90-degree angles there. But since it's county and it's a drainage district, brought it to Jeff and the drainage district, and as you, as the supervisors or trustees of that district, want to present information, answer any questions you might have, and on your recommendation.
I assume the old tile would be removed. The blue dots there.
Yeah, yes, we remove the old, whatever the specifications that you call for, we would remove what's needed.
In your relocation, would that tile be in the county right away in the ditch, or would it be still on your property?
Should still be on our property.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I was over there yesterday. And see, you have 2 new driveways going in.
That's correct.
When you go under those, would that be like solid Schedule 80 or heavier PVC pipe, so we wouldn't worry so much about crushing down? Or Jeff?
You can probably do a casing underneath it. That way you insert one pipe inside of another one. That way, most casings are metal, so you can protect the pipe that way.
Yeah.
But Colin, do you have any other suggestion?
Well, is the reroute gonna cross any driveways? Is that what you're talking about?
Well, they put 2 driveways in from Highway 9
Yeah.
into that area. And I just wanted to make sure where they were gonna have heavy traffic, that there was gonna be protection for that drainage tile.
Yeah.
The entrance, there should be one entrance coming off of Highway 9. And that is concrete tile. I don't know if it's 48 inches. I can't tell you right off the top of my head, but all I can tell you, I'm not an engineer. I went off of engineers, or we're going off of the engineers' recommendations and specifications for putting this together. And in order to get that entrance, we needed to clear through the DOT. The Iowa DOT had to approve that as well. So, and then there will be another entrance off of 327th Street. That's the north-south one on the right-hand side of the screen.
Right.
That will be the same approved entrance as well.
Okay.
This particular tile that we are rerouting, I do not believe, as long as the
As long as it continues on where we think it does on there. Yeah, we will not be going under, we will not have any crossings.
What, I don't know, I've not heard about this before, so I'm coming in kind of fresh, but. It looks like I mean, there's a culvert through the railroad tracks there, so and that tile looks like it. Maybe was going through the railroad tracks or was supposed to. Are you confident this line, there's nothing else connecting to it from the north? Cause that would wreck it kind of if you just rerouted around and then there was connections into that old tile.
We have not found one yet. If we do find one, then yes, we would not. We'd have to make accommodations for that one as well. But as they've been scraping dirt, doing dirt work, they did find where it's located in blue, but they have not seen another north-south line going there.
And how did they just where they encountered it, they got survey points, or did they run like a tracer wire up the tile or?
Surveys. There was electrical and utilities lines that came off of the First Avenue that entered the property. Maybe I can. There was utilities that came in this direction.
Yep.
So as they came over here, they discovered it and then they started tracing it with geo reference points. They have not run a tracer up the tile. And we can certainly do those. I mean, that's, I guess, why I'm here today. I want guidance on what I need to do it, and make sure we're doing it
Okay.
correctly.
And I'd have to go, have you looked back at the original records, of the drainage district, that the beacon, I mean, where the information that was used to put that to get, like, we know that those aren't always accurate. But typically what I do is go back to the whatever drainage district that is and look at the records and the plat maps and things and see where that tile was supposed to be. It's a little bit strange to me that like this is showing it going, a completely different direction. Normally they had it kind of drawn right, they just had it shifted over somewhere, but they had the shape correct typically. So I don't know if you've done any of that or.
No, I have not.
Nobody's come in the office.
And that, yeah, we wondered that too, because we haven't tried to go north. I mean, they have not encountered anything as we've been doing dirt work. And yes, there is a culvert that comes underneath the railroad tracks that I've just been told it drains that north area and everything comes under the rail track. So I am guessing too, yes, at one time that probably was a purpose there. But I've not seen, they have not encountered it in that area as of yet, but.
I don't know, I guess. I think it's pretty likely, based on the limited information that I have, that there's maybe a tile coming from the north somewhere in there. And that, with this reroute, that would get a little bit complicated if there was a tile coming from where that culvert's at, right into the middle of that pond, then you'd have to go west
and then back south
and try to wrap it all the way around that pond. I don't know, I don't know what can be done to see if we can find any more on what tile could be coming from the north. Cause I think before you'd want to commit to something like this, you'd want to know about that. Cause obviously there's area that comes from the north that drains south.
Right. We will use whatever resources you suggest or however we need to do this, because we don't want to cause any issues for anyone in the future.
Call me to look at it.
So we can, whether that's relocating, we can do some more. We can check at the drainage office, district office, and go through those things. So, and
again, apologize for the last minute. This was all kind of last week when everything, like Thursday, I think, when found all this. So we're knowing that, hoping that the weather was going to maintain for a couple more weeks yet, but
I think this is probably a doable project, but it would sure be bad on our part if we don't, at least go back and look at the original plans on the drainage district tile, the lateral tiles, and make sure that, we don't, any of those residences up in Superior, we don't want to cause a future problem for them. I'm sure you don't either, so I think it would pay to go back and look at that and see if we can determine, like this shows, it shows a 12-inch going straight up and then it just stops, well, what have they hooked to it over the years possibly, or
Yeah, that's one thing I wondered is if the drainage district maps this is just possibility, but drainage district tile could be across the railroad tracks, and this one that they traced to the west could be a lateral that was added on later, and when they ran it up, they didn't see that it went north also.
that happened a
It's a
lot.
possibility,
Yeah, I think it needs to be explored a little further.
Absolutely, absolutely.
sounds fair on my end. We'll do what we can do and appreciate you letting us at least let you know we're working on it.
Okay,
Here.
appreciate
We're
that.
not just going to willy-nilly go in and try and do something.
Well, like I said, I was there yesterday and it looks like they're gonna do a nice addition. I'm sure they want to do it right, but I think it behooves us to make sure that it's done right since we're the trustees of the drainage district.
The cost of this though is handled by these guys,
Yep.
correct?
Yeah, that was our.
Okay.
Wouldn't expect the county to see that.
Just needed to know for sure.
We're there to ask it. Right.
So are you gonna get with Beck Engineering for that, or do you know who this is?
No, I don't.
Okay, this is Colin with Jacobson Westergaard,
Okay.
preliminary engineer.
Yeah, he's done a lot of our engineering on the eastern part of the county with drainage districts.
Yeah, I will, I'll contact Bex. They're the ones doing the dirt work as well. Start there. We need to coordinate with, you folks. We'll do what we need to do. Maybe next month or next week or whenever you get together, we may have another updated information for you.
It'd be great.
All right, appreciate
As
you.
far as billing goes for sub 2 of 2. I mean, there won't be any bills that are gonna get brought back to the drainage district. I mean, is there anything that we're gonna want attached to the drainage district? I mean, we'll have our minutes and stuff, but as far as the tile reroute and everything else, reclassification of, what the benefit is to those grounds around there, is there gonna be any changes to that?
Definitely doesn't. That I'm aware of. Yes, my non-engineering opinion, it's going to improve the drainage aspect, because right now, everything, what we see from the physical above ground standpoint, anything that comes from the north comes under the railroad tracks and then tries to get out a 36-inch coming from the railroad tracks and goes down to an 18-inch going across 9, or maybe it's 46 and 24 or something like that. Well, I think page 2 kind of shows with our addition of the building, yes, we'll have more water shed off of that building. We also have 3 retention ponds that will limit as the water goes from point A to point B.
Do you think, what is your thoughts, Colin, as far as we're working on reclassifying all of our drainage districts currently. Most of our drainage districts were classified in the early 1900s. So the benefit to what we are showing is not correct. Not correct, but it needs updating. So, with rerouting the tile,
you're asking if you think we need to reclassify?
if there's anything that we're gonna need to do on the drainage district side, if new co-op's gonna be covering the cost of everything, but there's a tile reroute.
Which at an absolute minimum, we'd want records of decisions and maps to show for people 20 years down the road, like what what happened.
Right.
They come in and they go, oh, well, that tile's supposed to be here and it's not, and what happened? So that way we at least at a minimum, and there's probably other things that need to happen as well. But
I mean, we're open to whatever fees that there are. I mean, if we start talking about $1 million or something in fees, then we need to talk.
Well, I feel like that's, yeah.
Just asking.
It's looking normal drainage, right?
But if there's, additional fees that are involved for reporting and classification and all that, something we co-op would fully expect that we're doing this project, we're causing this to be relocated, so we should. It's possible. With that, unless there's no other questions, thank you very much.
Well, thank you for,
Keep you updated and just keep thinking a little warm weather, except in January when you have the winter gates.
thanks for being out in front of this.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Thanks, Frank.
Thank you.
The engineer's agenda, I just have one item, is to approve the request for repairs in DD 19 main ditch and hire the service of Diamond Concrete to use a long reach to complete the removal of the Beaver Dam, which is estimated under $1,500.
Motion to approve.
Second,
It's been moved by Kim, seconded by Mr. Clark. Further discussion? Hearing none. Kim?
Aye.
Mr. Clark?
aye.
Levi? Aye. Mr. Dullard?
Aye.
And Bill is aye.
Thank you, Board. That's all I have for today.
Thanks, Jeff.
Are you ready for the snow? Okay, let's see.
Along those lines, I will say that when I went over to Superior yesterday, I took off and drove around the whole northeast part that hit all the gravel roads and stuff, and the guys have done an excellent job getting that all prepped and ready for winter this year. And the roads that I were on, only about 104 miles of them, but they were all in good shape. So I want to commend them on that.
Okay, very good. Still don't have a trail person. And we just, we're down to number 6. Approval of the board meeting minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Kim has moved, Mr. Dullard second, further discussion. Hearing none, Kim,
Aye.
Mr. Dullard,
Aye.
Mr. Clark,
Aye.
Levi. Aye. And Bill is aye. Number 7 is the approval of the claims. Did anyone find anything?
Well, I did have some questions, and I went down to talk to Mike this morning, but he wasn't in his. I don't know if he had a meeting somewhere else or something. But maybe Mr. Goodlow can answer this for me. Both the sheriff and the 911 had substantial bills for Shield technology. Is that something? No, maybe I should ask Alyssa more.
Or Jared. Jared would even know more about
Okay.
that. I know Jared works with it all the time. It's a tool it's a research tool that they have.
Okay,
And I know just what I told you about it.
okay. Well, I saw that they had about close to $20,000 bills on that.
I know they use it a lot. They use
Okay,
it a lot,
well.
so.
And I got my other questions answered except for on the American Rescue Plan, and I see Beth has gone already. I saw $1,000 to Berger and Company for behavioral health. They have some kind of meeting or,
That's what I would guess.
okay, well,
But mine,
I
and
was-
maybe you can answer this. Do our sheriff's cars have ears on them?
Do they have what on?
Ears?
Yes.
Okay, then that That's why they had a hearing test on car number 7. Okay, anything else?
And my last question, I'll wait till Aaron shows back up.
Okay, well then would you like us to not have a vote until she shows up?
You're the chair.
Well,
I just would like to ask her about some trail drainage bills, so.
okay, well, we will withhold our vote. until you
She's on
get
her way
your
down.
Answer,
Okay.
what's that? Joe?
She's on her way down.
Well, we can start with Kim on general discussion, board and committee. report.
Absolutely. We had a recycling commission meeting. We reviewed our annual financial audit findings from Winther and Stave. I'm happy to say everything is okay and we're up and up. We are in compliance. Also, the Regional Collection Center has been busy with, we went from trees to leaves. There's a lot of activity out there, obviously. They've continued their summer hours, but that's going to change here very quickly due to the weather. They'll go to winter hours. Charles Vigdahl, who's our leader there, is looking to purchase a larger sifter because of the work that's being done. And the one they've had is not really adequate for what they need. The landfill cardboard site continues to be very busy and really a big plus for us, helping the other sites. Helped with Hunger Coalition delivered food to residents in Terrell. Our numbers for Milford and Terrell are actually at record numbers of folks that we're delivering food to. Dickinson County Courthouse Safety Meeting, Steve Dullard and I were both in attendance at that. We've had one accident report since August with no lost days, so that's good news for us. Hearing screenings are done for the road maintenance crews. We're still looking at holding a fire drill. We always love those, but that's coming up. We're also working on really updating and creating a system of forms and procedures for outside contractors who do work within our facility. It's just an extra safety measure that we have. Other than that, that's what I have.
Excellent,
Thank
thank you.
Aaron's here.
Oh, Aaron's here now.
Sorry about that. I was in the middle of a mail marriage printing and once you're in it, restart over. So I had to fix some stuff. So anyway, you had a question about drainage?
Yeah, I saw on the trails bills, we had, on the spine trail drainage with the directional boring and the concrete and everything, that totaled up to about $35,000 or $34,000.
Yeah, so that was that issue with DD 48 and fixing that with Bill Hamby's property. And so there was an existing tile that ran under the railroad bed and under the existing trail.
Mm-hmm.
And then because it's there, it's our responsibility. So you start getting into railroad law / drainage law, it's not very, so
Okay.
it's like we get stuck with that issue. We can't stop the water.
I was sure.
You know, I
that-
hate those things, but.
I was sure that was where it was at, but I wanted.
Yeah,
I
and
wanted to make sure.
just try to make sure we have some cushion there for things like that that come up, so.
Okay, that's all I had on that. So.
And so my deal that I have for you today is the funding agreement for Clay County Connection Phase 3. And I was here last week. I mentioned that we had gotten that $295,000 from the State Rec Trails Fund, but we'd also applied 4 years ago for TAP funding, which is through federal aid. So the agreement basically combines those two funding sources together, and it's umbrellaed under federal aid guidelines, and that's what the agreement is laid out under. And we're already in that because of the TAP funding, so now we have to agree to abide by the DOT's process, basically, which we have done in all of our projects, all the federal aid.
So we need a motion then to approve that. Okay, I'll make a motion.
Okay, Levi has moved,
I'll second.
Mr. Dullard second. Further discussion? Hearing none, Levi.
Aye.
Mr. Dullard.
Aye.
Mr. Clark.
Aye.
Kim.
Aye.
And Bill is aye.
between the two funding sources, we have close to $570,000 in the project. We actually do have to like provide some of our own. Their match.
Where will the trail go around that oil plant or gas plant?
Oh, the tank farm?
Tank farm.
Yeah, so we're gonna go around back.
To the back, that's what I.
Yeah, we asked about that in the beginning about doing that, and then they were like, no, thanks, and then we came to them like, well, this is what we're gonna do, crossing your driveway, and then they were like, then they panicked.
Yeah.
Like, we'd like to give you an easement, so.
So if it goes behind there and then there's a real gully area, does it go back farther and back or?
No, it'll come back around there, it'll skirt the edge of their property along the
Okay.
outside, and then it comes back in towards the
Got it.
road, and we'll just extend the culvert under the Highway 71.
Okay.
All right, anything else?
No,
Thank you.
Thanks, Aaron.
Mr. Clark, to answer your Burger and Company question. There was an event, I think Levi told us a week or so ago that he went to this. It was at the Pearson Lakes Arts Center. An event called Childhood Unplugged. That was a joint sponsorship from the Rotary Club and the Dickinson County Behavioral Health Coalition. And the speaker was a lady by the name Catherine Martinko. Did you go to that?
Yep.
And it was about how to help guide children through this technological world. You were there, so you know more about it than I do, but that's what that was for.
Okay.
And that was the
Great.
day that they did announce that Burger and Company. I did not participate in the supper, but yes, they were there.
Okay.
Yep.
You ask and we will find, sir.
So then, would you like to make? a motion?
I would make a motion that we approve the claims as listed on the claims report.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Levi. It's been moved and seconded. Are there any further items to discuss? Hearing none, Mr. Clark,
Aye.
Levi.
Aye.
Mr. Duller.
Aye.
Kim.
Aye.
And Bill is aye. Continuing on, Mr. Duller.
Okay, well, last Thursday, I attended the Rides Board in Spencer, and the main focus was on their budgetary items and retiring some vehicles. There was one question about funding for free rides to the food pantries, which their decision was due to the shutdown, rides would provide. Rides is also having difficulties recruiting drivers in the western areas that they're supporting, and there won't be a board meeting in December, but the board will have a planning and developmental meeting at 9 a.m. in Spencer on the 18th. On Thursday, I attended our church's open Thanksgiving dinner, which was well attended. We had over 60 people there. On Friday, I attended a safety meeting with Mr. Wormanson, and in the afternoon, I attended a mandatory webinar for newly elected and appointed officials. That was long. It was on open meetings, transparency. Then on Saturday, I served at our church food pantry. Got a bunch of things coming up this week. That's it. All I have.
Okay. Sounds like a good week. And thank you for doing
Yes,
the
sir.
rides for me. Mr. Clark.
Yeah. I attended on the 21st, the Yes Board meeting in Cherokee. The auditors were present to give them their yearly audit. It was approved by the board. There were no notes on their bookkeeping or anything. It all looked pretty straightforward and so on. I do have a copy of that to give to Lori to put in the files of their annual report. They have just put on their safety and confinement training. BV County comes in every year and puts that on for them because they have to have this training to put restraints on disruptive or unruly clients. And so they have to have that yearly training. Everybody that works there at this time had that. They also met with the Northwest Iowa Sheriff's Association. 17 out of the 20 counties in this area met with them to discuss possible transports in the future and how the sheriff's offices use the Yes Center and getting clients back and forth for hearings and every other thing. So far this year, they have done 1,011 transports. This is in the calendar year.
Wow.
And that ranges kind of from central Nebraska to the Mississippi River and central Minnesota to the Missouri border. And the reason it goes out of state is there's some Indian reservations, and some of those kids, you know, they look for ways to help them too. So that is more on the federal level because that's where the reimbursement comes from. But that's where they travel. This year or this month, this last, well, along with transports, with the 1,011, that's up 20% from last year. So far for the year. So, and normally Christmas time is pretty active. So, they average 10.7 clients per day down there. They have 15 licensed beds, and a couple of days they were holding new clients in offices while ones were being dismissed. They were that full. So it's been a bit busy place this year. On the 24th, I met with a constituent in the morning. I did a site inspection of new co-ops, construction and proposed drainage, and did road inspection, like I said, in the northeast part of the county. Stopped by the Spirit Lake shop and talked to the guys up there. And that's what I did this week. And next week, because of Thanksgiving, looks fairly normal.
Well, I hope it is for you. Levi.
Last night I went to the city council meeting in Milford and also had a audit report from Winter Stave, and everything looks good. There was quite a bit of discussion on a sidewalk project with the elementary school going in and how the city and school are gonna work together on that. Which I think there'll also be probably a discussion on adding a bike trail to that existing, which will be an existing sidewalk, and so I would anticipate that coming down the pipeline at some point. And then they also talked about that they're gonna put in a new lift station, the city of Milford is, because to the west and the north of the new elementary, there's gonna be about 120 unit development, housing development going in. And so talking about getting all that up to code. And so that was the majority of the meeting last night with that. And then on Thursday this week, I will be helping at the Atlas Thanksgiving dinner. So I've been doing some serving there, so. Or I'll be doing whatever I'm told to do. I think it's serving, but.
I did have a question. When they had the meeting last night in Milford, Milford City Council actually voted to upgrade that whole area for a mile north and a mile west.
I believe so,
To
yeah.
be able to handle future development in the whole area. So it's gonna be a pretty large upgrade that they're doing for the sanitary sewer system in Milford, so.
Which is a big deal, and the housing is a.
Yes, it's a
need.
huge deal.
That's good news.
Thought they were out of money. Yeah. As for me, I spent most of last week in Cottonwood, Arizona. I think, knock on wood, I will not be making any more trips there. Got the last boxes of things mailed. Met with the estate salespeople, and I got Alexa sold. So if the FBI ever ask you where I'm at, tell them I don't know, sir, but I'll guarantee it's not in Arizona. As far as business, I met with the mayor of Spirit Lake yesterday to discuss Coca-Cola moving into our business area east of town. So,
Boy, they've been at that location in downtown for as long as I can remember.
yep, me too. Of course, I remember when they used to drive to our school and we'd get a free bottle of Coke and a pad of paper. So,
Especially if you helped them unload the bottles into the storage area.
they never asked me, they knew better.
Oh, okay.
So that's all I have for you. Does anyone out there have anything? If not, I'd take a motion to adjourn.
No.
We have closed session.
That's right.
Nice try.
I tried, well, I tried. Mister, yes, wish to give us a reason to go into closed session?
Sure, under Iowa Code Section 21.5, closed session. Sub 1, a governmental body may hold a closed session only by affirmative vote of either 2/3 of the members of the body or all the members that are present in the meeting. The governmental body may hold a closed session only to the extent a closed session is necessary for any of the following reasons. This closed session is under subsection C, which is discuss strategy with counsel in matters that are presently in litigation or litigation is imminent, or disclosure would likely prejudice or disadvantage the position of the governmental body in that litigation.
Do I have a motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
Mr. Clark moves,
I'll second.
Kim seconds. Roll call vote like we always do. Mr. Clark,
Aye.
Kim.
Aye.
Mr. Dullard,
Aye.
Levi.
Aye.
And Bill is aye. If you please remove yourselves.
Is this the one where you're gonna have a decision
Yeah.
possible?
Potential decision. I